We've got the latest trade rumors on Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bam Adebayo here on NBA Now by Chat Sports. Welcome into the show. Jeffrey Cooperstein here with you guys. And I know what you're thinking. These might be some crazy trade rumors that we're looking at. There's no way Giannis or Bam ever get traded. It might not be as wild as you might think. But I want you guys to get us started here on today's show. NBA fans, sound off in the comment section. Who will be the next NBA star to be traded? Is it Giannis? Is it Bam? Is it somebody else we haven't mentioned yet? Go on down in the comment section and let me know who you think it could be. The two teams that are rumored to be most interested in Giannis at this current moment, and of course this is subject to change, is the New York Knicks and the Golden State Warriors. And there have been some reports surrounding the Knicks that there might be some noise surrounding the latest potential Giannis rumors. And I could see Giannis heading to the Big Apple if indeed he does leave Milwaukee. This from Ian Begley of SNY, who is an absolutely New York Knicks GOAT. He is plugged in with all things Knicks. And when it comes to New York basketball, Ian Begley is the guy I go to. He said Giannis has been very public about wanting to win a title, and that's one of the reasons why he sees New York as a potential destination if Milwaukee ever decided to trade him. The Knicks obviously haven't won a title since 1973, and the idea of winning the title in New York, breaking that streak, is something that appeals to Giannis. The Knicks and Bucks did engage in trade talks in August, but still many hurdles to get past here before Giannis ever comes to New York or that becomes a reality. So there certainly is interest from the Knicks. They're interested in a Giannis trade. They had talks with the Bucks in August, but like Ian Begley said, I do think there's a ton of hurdles that have to be jumped and passed through before this could actually become a reality. Number one, I think Giannis would have to request a trade. I don't think there is any way the Milwaukee Bucks are going to trade Giannis without Giannis actually wanting out of New York. You are talking about, of Milwaukee, excuse me. You are talking about the greatest player in their franchise's history and maybe one of the top 25 players to ever play basketball. Giannis is one of the best players in the league right now. I would probably put him number 3 behind Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic, but Giannis is an absolute force on both ends of the court. He can guard 1 through 5. He is a freak athlete. His name is the Greek Freak for a reason. And just look at the stats on your screen right there. Averaging 30 points, over 10 rebounds. He's dishing out as well, averaging about 6 assists, and shoots a crazy high field goal percentage because he's so dominant when he gets downhill and gets to the paint. We're talking about an all-time great here, and you do not trade all-time greats unless he says, I'm not signing an extension with your team and I would like to explore other pathways for the rest of my career. I think that is the only way Giannis would leave Milwaukee, is if he says, yeah, I'm just not going to sign an extension here. I don't see myself here for the rest of my career, so you might as well get something for me. And I do think if it comes to that, Giannis would give the courtesy of requesting a trade from the Bucks. He wouldn't just leave in free agency and not get anything for him. Like, I think he would actually tell them, hey, I'm not going to re-sign. If you want to trade me, I totally understand. And they'll actually be able to get a ransom for him and jumpstart a rebuild and maybe even fast track a rebuild there. But the Knicks aren't the only team that are interested in Giannis. The Golden State Warriors are also a team that have been monitoring the situation in Milwaukee. This from Brett Siegel of Clutch Points, who said, we have heard all about Golden State's interest in Giannis dating back to before the 2020 pandemic, and that will be a situation the team monitors very closely in Milwaukee. The Warriors are always big game hunting out there. They were big game hunting at Kevin Durant at the NBA trade deadline in 2025. They went and signed Kevin Durant almost a decade ago now, and it's crazy that it's almost been a decade since that happened. But the Warriors are always looking ways to upgrade their roster to, at the end of Steph Curry's career, keep that team competitive. And Steph is still looking fantastic. I know there was a report the other day that he feels more athletic and more explosive than he ever has. And he still has, I think, a good amount of basketball left, whether that's 3 or 4 seasons. Like, they want to try to maximize that window with Steph Curry, try to put him around the best team possible to compete for maybe a 5th championship there in Golden State. Could Giannis be something that the Warriors look at, again, if Giannis requests a trade? And I think seeing Giannis and Curry would be crazy to see. I think Curry is firmly in the top 10 players of all time. He's knocking on the door of top 5, and if he wins that 5th championship, I think it would be hard to keep him out of that conversation. Like, seeing the contrasting styles of Curry and Giannis. Curry, the off-ball mover, the greatest shooter that we have ever seen in the NBA, versus Giannis, who is the downhill unstoppable force. That would be an awesome sight to see those two playing together. And I think, look, I could see Giannis potentially moving teams from the Milwaukee Bucks if this season goes awry. I think he was not happy with how they handled the Damian Lillard situation in the offseason, and he is going to be closely monitoring how this front office operates over the next season or so. All right, guys, I told you all about the Giannis rumors. Get down in the comment section now. What is his next move? Do you think he's headed to the New York Knicks type K? Do you think he's headed to the Golden State Warriors type W? Will he sign an extension with the Milwaukee Bucks type M? Or if you think it's none of those, tell us who down in the comment section. It could be honestly, there could be a team that we haven't even thought about that Giannis could be eyeing or that could be eyeing him. So let us know down in the comments what you guys think. At the end of the day, though, I feel like Giannis is a one-team guy. I think he values loyalty. I think he values staying in one place for the rest of his career. It feels like the European guys, like Nikola Jokic, like Dirk Nowitzki, like those guys want to stay with the teams that drafted them, with the teams that they came up with for their entire career because they gave them a chance to come over and fulfill their NBA dreams. So I, at the end of the day, do think Giannis is going to stay in Milwaukee, but it's not as sure of a thing as it may have been just a year ago. I would still put it at about 80-20 he stays in Milwaukee, which is down from what it was probably 95-5 about a year ago. So we'll see what happens. And of course, if anything happens with Giannis Antetokounmpo getting traded, you know where to find it. And it's right here at youtube.com/chatsportstv. And it's not just NBA coverage you can find right here. You can find NFL, you can find college football, all of the latest and greatest sports news you can find right here at Chat Sports, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Join over the 400,000 subscribers we have right here on the channel. Switching gears to Bam Adebayo, who is rumored to be wanted by the Golden State Warriors. We mentioned the Warriors could be a potential player for Giannis. They also could be a potential player for Bam. We'll get into those details here in just a moment. But today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, where it is good to be right. You and I make decisions every single day, and on PrizePicks, those right decisions can get you paid. One of my favorite features on PrizePicks is they now offer stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. If you want to pick more on Steph Curry, points, assists, and three-pointers made, if you want to take the less on Draymond Green, field goals made, or technical fouls, you can do that on PrizePicks. PrizePicks also, a new feature is you can also follow other PrizePicks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click. Whether it's a friend, celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like myself, hit that follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on PrizePicks. Here is my season-long basketball projection, and football season is also underway, but basketball season is right around the corner. I'm going to take the more on Brandon Miller points per game average. I love what Brandon Miller is doing over there in Charlotte. Give me the less on Dylan Harper points per game average at 13.2, and I'm going to take the more on Luka Doncic points per game at 29.1. I think Luka is on his way to the MVP this season. You can copy my picks or make picks of your own. Just please make sure you do it with our friends over at PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 when you play your first $5 in lineup. One more time, that is code CLNS to get a $50 bonus when you play your first $5 in lineups. PrizePicks, where it is good to be right. All right, so let's revisit this Bam Adebayo thing. And this sort of came out of nowhere that the Warriors could be interested in Bam and are monitoring the situation. I love that word, monitoring. I don't know why. It's just a funny word. But they have interest in the Miami Heat big man, so let's talk about it here. Brett Siegel, once again, of Clutch Points, says Bam is another all-star in the East who would be at the top of the Warriors' list of potential trade targets if he were ever to request a trade from the Miami Heat. And I don't think Bam is a guy that is anywhere close to requesting a trade from the Heat. I don't really see that happening. I think he really likes it in Miami. I think he's settled there. He's the franchise player with the Heat. I think Pat Riley, the president of basketball operations, really likes Bam Adebayo. And I think he's going to be there for the long haul. And on the other hand, the Heat would absolutely be crazy to trade Bam Adebayo. You just don't trade your best player in the middle of their prime. Like, Bam is someone who I feel like really identifies with the Heat culture. And, you know, we always mention Heat culture because that's just the thing that they just have over there. And you can say whether it's fake, you can say whether it's real or not, but I really think that Bam really exemplifies what the Heat culture is. I think he's going to stay there for the rest of his career. So I really do think that the Heat would be crazy to trade Bam, and it's just not something that I could see happening. I think that the Heat, if Bam were to request a trade over the next couple of years, that's the only when it would happen. Like, it would happen if the Heat really have a disastrous season. Like, Tyler Hero's going to be out for the first month of the season. They've been dealing with the Terry Rozier situation for a while. So I don't know if Bam is going to be someone that is with the Heat for his entire career, like I think Giannis is going to be for his entire career in Milwaukee. It remains to be seen. Look, Bam has done a lot of things at 28 years old. He has been an Olympian. He has been an all-star. He has been on the all-NBA team. He's done a lot of great things with the Miami Heat. And I was talking to our Heat Report host, Nick Roloff, here at Chat Sports, and he was telling me that he thinks Bam is already a top 4 or 5 Heatle of all time. And if he won a title, he would already jump LeBron James and be the second greatest Heat player of all time next to Dwayne Wade. Like, that is extremely high praise for a guy who has not even won an NBA title yet. And I love Bam Adebayo. Like, I think he is a really good player, but it remains to be seen whether or not the Heat can get over the hump with Bam. He had a really good season last year, and I do think that he's still a very, very good player. Like, he can play forward, he can play center, and he can also handle the ball pretty well as well. Like, the Heat have run some stuff throughout the course of his career where he's the one bringing the ball up the court and initiating the offense. Bam averaged 18 points a game last year, almost 10 boards, and shot it really well as well. In the playoffs, he was a little disappointing, and I think the Heat would have liked more out of Bam if that were the case, but you know what? It happens, and the Heat just weren't going to win that series anyways, and they got swept, so it is what it is there. But look, I still think Bam is a really great player in this league, and his contract, pretty affordable as well. He is under contract over the next 3 seasons. He could become a free agent in 2029, where he's making $37 million this year, and then it jumps up to $49, $53, and $57.6 when his extension kicks in next season. He does have a player option on the final year of that deal in 28-29. It wouldn't shock me if he opted out of that to try to sign a longer-term deal. On the other end, it wouldn't shock me if he opted in. But given how the NBA salary cap is going to rise at a max of 10% over the next couple of seasons, I do think Bam Adebayo could be in for another huge, huge payday for the Miami Heat. And I do think he could end up staying with the Heat his entire career. But all of this to say, you just don't trade your best player, your franchise player, in the middle of their prime. I'm looking at you, Dallas Mavericks. That is just a disastrous proposition. You just do not do this because, number one, it resets your timeline of winning. Number two, it upsets and pisses the hell out of your fan base. Number three, you just look like the biggest clown in the NBA. Again, shout out to the Dallas Mavericks who traded their superstar player in the middle of the night to the Los Angeles Lakers. So at the end of the day, I just don't know if Bam Adebayo is going to be traded from the Miami Heat. I don't see Giannis really moving from the Milwaukee Bucks. Again, things can change. Those teams could both have disastrous seasons, and those guys could be rethinking their future. But I do think that we are in the era of, I think, loyal superstars staying with their teams for as long as possible. We haven't really had a major free agent change teams in the last, I would say, like 4 years. Like, the last major free agent I can remember is the Kawhi Leonard season in 2019. Like, I think that is the last major free agent. We had Paul George move from the Clippers to the Sixers. We've seen how that one worked out, right? So I really don't know if you're going to see this era of superstars getting the free agency and really having a full-on like recruiting pitch like those guys did. So that remains to be seen. But I do think that Bam is going to stay with the Heat, and I also think that Giannis is going to stay with the Milwaukee Bucks. That will do it for today's show, guys. I appreciate you for tuning in to NBA Now by Chat Sports. We have you with the latest and greatest NBA trade rumors right here on the channel. And also stay tuned because we're giving you the latest on the NFL, college football, and more right here. Appreciate y'all for watching the show, and we'll see you soon.